All right, Chris. Well, this is episode 9, and we're taking a little bit of a break from the book of Matthew, but really on the same topic because the book of Matthew's theme is King and Kingdom. And this week, a Holy Week, on Sunday we talked about the Triumphal Entry, and the sermon was called "Make Way for the King." Is that right? And so, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be in a new section of Scripture talking about really the same thing from a new angle. So
Yeah. So we decided to do Mark because we're going to be in Matthew at some point. And Mark's such a concise, kind of highlight reel version of everything. But yeah, so we're in Mark 11, verses 1 through 11. I'm going to read that, and then we can kind of talk through it. When they approached Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, he sent 2 of his disciples and told them, "Go into the village ahead of you. As soon as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there on which no one has ever sat. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' say, 'The Lord needs it, and will send it back here right away.'" So they went and found the colt outside in the street, tied by a door. They untied it, and some of those standing there said to them, "What are you doing untying the colt?" They answered them, "Just as Jesus had said," so they let them go. They brought the colt to Jesus and threw their clothes on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their clothes on the road, and others spread leafy branches cut from the fields. Those who went ahead and those who followed shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest." He went into Jerusalem and into the temple. After looking around at everything, since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12.
It's pretty wild.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I don't know if you have the same picture in your head, but when the disciples are sent to go get the donkey, that scene from Star Wars, "These are not the droids you're looking for." Like, that's how I imagine that scenario.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't end that way, but it kind of feels that way a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wild thought to go and, take someone's animal and, hey, the Lord has need of it, and that's going to be good enough. But they were probably pretty excited and maybe hope-filled at the possibility that he was finally going to do what they were waiting for him to do. I mean, that seems like the consensus is, all right, now, finally, here we go.
Yep.
And so it's like, all right, well, then we'll give it a shot. Props to them for doing it.
Yeah.
And doing exactly what he said to do. And, yeah, the results, obviously, were exactly what he said they would be.
Could you imagine what they're feeling in their head as they're going and they're like, what is he going to do? Like, how is this going to go? They're probably thinking this is either the beginning of a war or something, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
To think, because for us, it's just, it's another Sunday where the Bible lesson is a certain way, but the way they're experiencing it is probably has some intensity.
Well, he's making a claim, basically. I mean, he's playing the part of, a triumphant leader that's coming in. Some of the details don't make sense. Like, some of the ways the way he's doing it is like, like choosing a young donkey versus a war horse. That would be intimidating. Big horses are like intimidating. Like, they're wild. Like, you see like a big, strong horse walk up to you, and it's like, but a donkey is like kind of like, you think of like Eeyore. It's like, they're like, what is this? Like, doesn't have the same gravitas, I guess you could say.
There's probably a children's book that was at the Christian bookstore about that donkey.
Yeah.
And his
his life and how he was always picked on by the other donkeys.
There probably is some Eeyore-esque.
Yeah. Because his nose was red and no. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was the one that carried the king.
Yeah, he was probably the outcast.
That might be a cynical way of looking at it, but somebody's marketed it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yep. Made some money.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the triumphal entry is interesting because when we define triumphal, I would define it differently. Because it seems to be this slow pace. I mean, everybody knows the donkeys are not like galloping. The people are they seem a little bit confused, but then they get on board with it. There's not a clear plan of what's going to happen. But then it's labeled the Triumphal Entry. I mean, I'm thinking like trumpets, these sort of things. But what happens is kind of odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even like the idea of a donkey, years ago, we'd take our high schoolers to Colorado, and there would be all the horses. There's tons of horses on the property, and they just kind of roam around. And then there'd be this circle where they were gated in was the mules. Mm-hmm. And the mules, you don't mess with the mules. You can go pet the horses. You can hang out with them. Don't mess with the mules. They're kind of mean. They're kind of whatever. And you're like, well, what's the point? You look at them. They're shorter than the horses, but they're stockier. And I mean, for those who don't know, a mule is a horse and a donkey mixed. And I was like, well, why even have mules if they kind of have attitude and you don't really ride them or anything like that? And it's because they're pack animals. They're and what they called like a donkey would be, and this is a beast of burden. They're super sure-footed. They're able to navigate gnarly terrain and carry an incredible amount of weight, more weight than the bigger horse. Like the horse is more built for speed and stuff. Wow. If you see them, they're stockier. I mean, this is a mule. I don't know about a donkey, but it's the donkey that gives a lot of those characteristics. And so the idea of a donkey is a beast of burden. And really, what is Jesus doing? He's slowly coming in as sure-footed as possible, and he's a beast of burden. I mean, he's taking on not beast, but he's taking on the burden, the weight of it all in the least flashy way possible. But it's and he's what he's coming to do. The burden he's taking on is the weight of sin, death, chaos, disorder, violence, and he's taking on and bringing in what the prophecies tell us, peace. That's the idea. Is the donkey comes in riding on a donkey. It was prophesied in Zechariah 9, and he's bringing peace. And so it's a peace animal that's taking on all the burdens to bring peace. And so as much as it may not make sense for them, looking back, you go, oh. And that's kind of what we get in John. It talks about like a lot of the stuff that they experienced they didn't really understand until later. It's kind of like when you're a parent, you understand what your parents were doing later. You're like, oh, now I know why you didn't want me to do that or hang out with those people or whatever. So this, looking back, we have so much hindsight and we can see the beginning from the end to this point. And it's like, wow, that's so cool how it all didn't make sense, but made sense.
Yeah. Is it the Old Testament prophecy or one of the Gospels that says that the donkey had never been ridden?
Yeah. Never been ridden.
Or was it that was a child or something like that?
Yeah. Yes. Let's see. It was, it says it right here in verse 2 of 11. It says, you'll find a colt tied there on which no one has ever sat. So that's
a bumpy ride too.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, but it had to be that way, right? I mean, because what he was doing was something no one's ever done, you know? So Zechariah 9:9, rejoice greatly, daughter Zion, shout in triumph, daughter Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey. And then a lot of times people just do verse 9 or, you know, whatever. But verse 10 says, I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem. The bow of war will be removed, and he will proclaim peace to the nations. His dominion will extend from sea to sea, from the Euphrates River to the ends of the earth. That's prophesied hundreds of years beforehand about the fact that it would be a donkey and what he was coming to do, an animal of peace, bringing peace literally to the ends of the earth, you know, which is what he's doing. It's not just saving Israel from Rome. It's saving all of mankind from the reign of sin and death. Yeah. And what does that do is it brings peace between us and God, which brings peace between us and others, and ultimately us and us, which is exactly what he came to do. Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about in the teaching about you mentioned the Maccabean revolt.
Yes.
and how they were kind of expecting Jesus to be another, whatever, the hammer, or
Yeah.
they were expecting him to be that leader that would come in and cause an uprising. And I know that's been exhausted and talked about a lot. It's worth saying, but as far as that sort of stuff, I think it's interesting, and I don't know how to formulate it into a question, but interesting how Jesus obviously comes in peacefully, but how much do you think the people were anticipating him to do something not peaceful at the end of that?
Oh, no, I think that is exactly what they were hoping for. Overthrow. Well, it's kind of like it's all you know. It's the only way you know how to win. Like that's why the Sermon on the Mount is so wild. Like if you take the Sermon on the Mount and just go, okay, well this is how everyone needs to be, it's impossible. But it's an inside out approach, and that's kind of the whole thing. And we just talked about it last week. The fruit and the root, like the storehouse of the soul, of the heart. That is what dictates what comes out of you. Like it's just, there's no other way around it. It's gonna come out of you one way or the other. And the point is, I've come to redeem the inside so that you can actually do those impossible things, and not by grinning and bearing it, but because you can see God's dominion and rule. You could see the kingdom at hand, and you could see, it doesn't matter what anyone else says or what anyone else does. I already know I'm on the right side here. I already know this is the right thing because he's been faithful throughout all of this. There's no more logical thing I could do than trust you. And so, but the only context that they really have at this point would be dominative power, which is, the Maccabean revolt was useful in a sense, and they still celebrate it like Hanukkah, because it was a big deal. It was like, they came in and took care of business and met, were able to free up a bunch of people. And that's what they were thinking Jesus was going to do, but even more complete. That was what their view of the Messiah was, is that was, if he's the Messiah, this is what he'll do. Because you see things about captives being set free where they're like, well, we're captive. And he's like, no, I'm setting you free from the greatest captor, which is Satan's rule and sin and death, and isolation, all that.
Yeah, and then he gets to, at the bottom of the run, he gets to the temple, and he does overthrow, but he doesn't overthrow the Romans. He overthrows the corrupt religious system that's in the temple.
Yes. Those who are supposed to represent him.
Yep. And it's interesting because it shows, it highlights what the king is all about. Because their hatred for their oppressors makes sense. From a human perspective, absolutely. But Jesus has a much bigger concern.
Well, and Rome is actually not characterized as anti-Jesus to some degree. A lot of them are their whole thing is money and power and just don't mess with that system sort of thing, which it's kind of the way the world is. Yeah. But there's so many instances where we see, different Romans being commended for their faith, or even Pilate just being I don't know, there's something not wrong, something not right about the way this guy's being treated. And even his wife is having a dream, dude, you do not kill this man. But they're tied by their own gods. They're tied up by their own ambitions and things they think are most important. And so there is the whole Rome issue. It's a real thing. But the greatest persecutors were the ones that were supposed to be representing God, the children of Israel, going after the Messiah, the one that came in the line, the one that's the fulfillment of everything. And so it's interesting. There's a word of caution to all of us to go, man, it's possible to think you're representing God by how pious you are and all the things you do, and you're actually public enemy number one in some ways, because you manipulated it to get to the end you want to get to, and you weren't open to God moving in your life. And it's good word for us to think about.
Yeah. I don't know if you've dabbled into it. It's one of my, with the Triumphal Entry, it's like one of my favorite nerd things is the parallels between Jesus' Triumphal Entry and then like a Roman triumph.
Mm-hmm.
And how they have this, they parallel each other in a lot of ways. And how in a Roman triumph, there would be, a Roman general or somebody victorious from battle would come, and they would have a massive procession. And it would normally, like, they would just wait outside of the city until it was the right time to come in, and they would have this massive parade. And in that parade, whoever the victor was, the person represented, they would paint their face red. They represent Jupiter, their god. And then in the city of Rome, they would travel through the city of Rome in a parade, and they would, of course, the people would be, celebrating. They would have a train of all the slaves that they had taken.
Yeah, the people they beat.
Or all the exotic animals that they had taken. And they would create this long parade, and then they would all lead to the Temple of Jupiter, where they would give honor to Jupiter for their victory in war. But there's a lot of really interesting things, because in the Roman triumph, there was somebody assigned, some sort of slave that would be assigned to stand behind the person that was painted up like their god, and he would be saying, like, you're just immortal. You're just immortal. You're not, like, he would literally, that was his job. He would stand behind him and he would say,
remind him that you're not a god yourself.
You're not a god. You're not a god. And so what's interesting is the Roman triumph is this, where the man is pretending to be God, dressing up like God, and he's going in to honor Jupiter. Whereas in Jesus' case, he is God, and he's humbly dressed as a man. Not to downplay the fact that he's 100% human, but here God is actually in a human body, and he is entering into the city, and he goes into the temple. There's these beautiful parallels, but God's kingdom versus the world's kingdom or the Roman Empire is interestingly different.
And it's the beauty of, like, God is able. It's a good reminder of why he's so worthy to be trusted, where he can take all these things and just go, can you see it? Like here's the best man can do. And here is my response, and how much greater it's like the greatest story writer of all time. I mean, that's what I even think about. I use this verse all the time, but like how we're his workmanship, his masterpiece. It's like this poema. It's like, because he writes a really good story. He creates intricately and detailed. And when we see stuff like this, it kind of brings us to the point of going, whoa, that's what and the idea should be awe. I mean, that is always the response to when Jesus was doing stuff, marveling, awe. And that's the most faith-filled life you can have, is when we're just always marveling and in awe of God, because that keeps him on the throne, and it keeps you faithfully, like, trusting him, because you're like, no way. Like, you did that? Like, that, what? Out of left field, how did that? And then you look back and go, oh, wow. Yeah. Like, the whole thing. Like a great movie. You can look back and all of a sudden, if you watch it the second time, you could see every little point and led to it. And you go, none of that was random. All of that makes sense. And what seemed like a waste or a loss, no, it was actually a really important point in history to get, or in the story, to get to this last part. And that's rewriting, making a whole new story. That's easy, or that's the easy way out. It's like, but to able to take what is going on around you, and then still to use it perfectly for your glory, on marveling.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood hasn't found a better script, so.
And they write based off this script often.
Yep.
Like they, remove the names for names and locations, but it's the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So we have the cult, then we have the entrance itself, and then what is that last little? I guess it's not the last, but what's the next part that we cover in these verses?
So they had the colt, and then they spread out the leafy branches cut from the field, and they're all saying, Hosanna, save now, right? Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest. We have been referencing that, like, could this be the son of David? Could this be? But they're saying, save now, save now. And that's their, come do it, man. We're ready.
Yeah.
But then the last part, it says, he went into Jerusalem and into the temple. After looking at everything, since it was already late, he went out of Bethany with the 12.
Yeah.
And the clock is ticking.
Yeah, you had mentioned something that doesn't get talked about a lot, and I'd never thought about it until you mentioned the willows. So we call it Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
But then there's also a mention of not just palms being put down.
Well, it's based on the Leviticus text. These Leviticus 24 or 23, but it's saying it's the Feast of Booths.
Oh, okay.
Or Feast of Tabernacles.
Yeah.
Which is representing the children of Israel wandering or being in tents and not having
The Feast of Shelters.
Yes, exactly. But it references not just palm branches, but also willows, and there's significance to that.
Okay, so Leviticus is where it says willows.
Yeah.
Does it say that in a gospel of the
No,
Triumphal Entry?
but I think that there's a great
a connection
to that feast.
Okay.
That's kind of like the triumphal. Here, let me just look it up real quick.
Okay, that makes sense, because so if you're what you're doing is you're digging into the source of kind of these prophecies.
Yep.
And you're noticing that there's not just palm branches.
Yeah, and I read it in an old commentary, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It says, on the first day, you're to take the product of the majestic trees, palm fronds, boughs, or leafy trees, and the willows of the brook, and rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You're to celebrate as a festival to the Lord for 7 days each year. This is a permanent statute for you throughout your generations. Celebrate in the 7th month. You're to live in shelters 7 days, all the native. Anyway, it was the reference of the palm branches being utilized as a point of triumph, but that the willows are as a point of suffering. And if that's the case, where it's both, because it's, or they're both being utilized together, there's this triumph and the suffering, and it's kind of, I just thought it was kind of interesting, because that's the plot of the children of Israel is like seasons of triumph and then also intermittent suffering and struggling. Jesus is the suffering servant that will end up winning it all.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then even this week that they're expecting this to be the best week ever, and it will be, but it will also be the most sorrowful, suffering week ever. Because Jesus is going to literally have to take on all of mankind's, the weight of their sin and their and death and corruption and all of it upon himself. So there's a triumph, but there's also deep sorrow. So much so he ends up sweating drops of blood because he's so anticipating what he's going to have to go through. So I thought it was a cool correlation. I mean, obviously, going back to it, it doesn't say it there, but it says leafy branches, and you can tie the palm branches and the willows together.
Yep.
They're both leafy branches.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a fun thing to think about, and it certainly does tie in with what he's doing. Yes, a celebration through significant and severe suffering and sorrow. I mean, by the end of Friday, there's not much hope by anybody. I mean, it's just pure sorrow at that point.
Is it? I think it might be Mark 10 where Jesus, right before he enters, he looks over the city and he weeps.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's willow branches right there.
Yeah.
Man, but even that, like, let me gather what I was thinking about the city at the time. You're talking about the mention of Israel's history with the sweet and the bitter idea, and they're going to be doing their Passover celebration. Like we're going to be doing the Passover celebration this week as well.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it seems like there's a pattern
Yeah.
of bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not all sweet and bitter, but there's a lot of bitter elements to the dinner.
Oh yeah.
And they're probably experiencing something like that, and they're supposed to be reflecting on the bitterness of their past, but also how God saved them. So it's interesting because they're going to be thinking about these things as a part of the celebration of the Passover that same week.
Yeah. They're going to be experiencing it in the Passover, and then they're going to be experiencing it in real time after Jesus says, "Hey guys, the last thing I'm doing with my disciples, basically all of them, is a meal and telling them, you see this? This is what I'm about to do. You know the lamb? I'm the lamb. Like I'm the one that's going to have to die, and my blood will save you. My blood will protect you and make you new. And it's the best news ever and the worst news ever for those. Because for us, the context is we've known that. And so we look and we go, oh, cool. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be fine. But if you're living with them and you've been hanging out with Jesus for 3 years, he's radically transformed your life. You've grown to love him beyond a love for any other person. I mean, anybody on earth. And you trust him emphatically. And now all of a sudden, what? Like your whole world's going to be shattered. You know, I just saw, this week, a guy, a good man by all accounts, passed, young, fitness guy, Michael Smith, and out of nowhere, like you're just like, and the mourning of the community, like, and so many people are coming forward, like, you don't know what he meant to me. Like, you guys don't understand like how big of an impact. And I saw this writing by someone that said, I'm sad I'll never be able to tell him. He'll never be able to know how impactful he was in my life. That sort of a thing. Yeah. And that this is a man who's flawed and has all kinds of issues. You could imagine with Jesus how devastating it would be. Of course, he prepared them, but they're not ready for that. Yeah. They weren't ready. They couldn't see it. And so it's this the sweet and the bitter, the mourning and the joy, all of that is in play. I mean, again, he was characterized as the suffering servant. Like we knew this is coming, but you kind of don't want it to, It's like, your kids are going to grow up, but you're like, maybe not, maybe I'll be able to hold on to them forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even it's interesting because when we read about the suffering servant, it's really easy for us because we know how the story unfolds.
The context.
Yeah, we know where it goes. Where they're trying to piece it together in real time, but we know that Jesus is victorious.
Yeah, we
know how it all goes, and so it's really easy for us to like even the whole idea. We call it Good Friday. We have the advantage of calling it Good Friday because we understand how it goes, but the disciples at the time was that this was the most horrendous day of their life.
If you told them it was Good Friday, they think you were against Jesus completely.
You would have thought you were a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it is Good Friday.
And I wonder how long it would take them to say Good Friday. Yeah. I mean, it would probably take a while because it was still the actual pain of the moment. Yeah. It's kind of like Jesus and Lazarus. Like he knows he's going to raise him from the dead, you would seemingly, but yet he's weeping when he sees it, the pain of the world is real to him. The pain of like a friend dying and seeing others mourning is real to him. It's like, why is he crying? He's going to take care of it. Yeah. Well, I think actually, you know what? There's a point here where some people try and act like mourning, you don't need to mourn almost like, oh, we don't do that because it's all good. It's like, and that's not what we see in Jesus at all. And even in the Bible, we say we weep, not like those without hope, for sure, but you still mourn. It's really important part of the process. And I've seen guys who think, oh, I got to hold strong and be godly and not, make it seem like this doesn't matter. Yep. And it's a weird message to those around you because they go, wait a minute. I'm hurting. And it almost feels like you don't care about that person because you're not, what people don't understand is they're actually deeply hurting and they're stuffing it. And then years later, it shows up in some weird way. Or I'm not saying every time. And one of the things you learn is you never tell anyone how to mourn, but Jesus was okay with that, with mourning. And I think even the response by the disciples, it's okay. Like, because they don't see it all. They will. I mean, these will be the people who will use to establish the church. And I don't want to jump into too much of the story coming up, but
spoiler alert.
It ends up really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things on what you're talking about is that Jesus didn't just show us who God was, but he showed us what it means to truly be human.
Yes.
And we see
good point.
God in a human body, like, even though he literally resurrects his friend, he's weeping at his grave. And it's like that is one of the most human experiences you can have is just mourning a loss of somebody that you love.
Yeah.
And here Jesus experiences it 100%.
Yeah.
And because we think of Jesus, we often think like he hit a grand slam, in Little League with nobody on base. Like that's how we think his life went. And that's just not true.
Yeah, the Bible definitely doesn't tell that kind of a story at all. Yeah.
I mean, he was 100% human.
And people, I mean, you had to pick him out of a crowd. So he wasn't glowing. He wasn't taller than everyone else or shorter than everyone else. I mean, he was seemingly blended in.
Yeah. I mean, even Judas's kiss.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. They're like,
you had to say which one he was.
He's like, which one is he?
The Jewish guy over there. It's like,
the guy in the robes with the sandals,
Yeah. He didn't have like the Jesus garb on or, he didn't have his stretched limo or anything like that.
Or is it Isaiah that talks about when he
without form or without
that I'm going to butcher it, but he talks about him not being a particular beauty or you know, like he just looked like a regular guy. It's fascinating because every depiction of Jesus is, he's either like some Swedish guy with blue eyes and a perm and there's always wind in his hair, or he's just some magnificent looking dude that is like a foot taller than everybody. And that's just not how Scripture depicts him.
Do you remember there was some years ago where someone did some sort of a study on all the bone structure from the Jewish people from that era, and they made a picture of like what the average man looked like, and it was like people were offended by it because it was like that cannot be our Savior, and we don't know what he looked like, but like it was so normal looking, like too normal looking, because even when we're like, I'm sure he didn't, but then you're like, but he did look like the way I want him to look. I'm sure of that, and so it's also interesting that he came in a time where there was no way to record exactly what he looked like by design. Like now it'd be like, what did Jesus look like? And you're like, oh, I have
some deep fakes.
I have 10,000 pictures of him, every time it's like, oh, he's going to the smoothie bar and he's got sunglasses on or whatever, or there he is on the mountain, a drone took a picture of him or whatever, it's like,
well, I think it's important because the Ten Commandments tell us that to worship the image of him and not God himself is a sin.
Right.
If we had a picture of Jesus, and not to
you're going down a road right now.
Yeah, but I mean,
but it's true.
Yeah.
Because we are. I mean, this bit of a Calvinist, I guess, thing, which I'm not. But like was it John Calvin that said that we're the human heart is an idol factory?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, that's it. Like that's it. We will make an idol out of anything. And so you always have to be really aware of like how easy it is to do that because it's so simple. We want to simplify things. Our brains want to like consolidate things, break things down to where, okay, I can manage that. Okay. Oh, there he is. That's Jesus. He lives right there on my shelf, and that's where I know where he's at. And so we always have to be wary of anything that can look like an idol. And so he didn't give us that option to where we can go, oh, well, that's what Jesus, there's my picture of Jesus. He lives right there. It's like, no, he doesn't. That is not where he lives. He's interceding, but he's also present in your own heart, in your own, through the power of the Holy Spirit. The same Spirit living in him is in you. Mm-hmm. It's his blood that covers you. It's not I, but Christ that now lives. So
I love that. Yeah, you can, every culture has like kind of a slightly different visual depiction of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen
depending on their culture?
My absolute.
Did you say Korean?
Korean. Have you seen the Korean Jesus?
But it's going to be one of the first things I look up. Yeah.
Finish the episode. But anybody watching this, take some time and go look up the Korean Jesus, because he's
is he Irish looking?
No, he's absolutely yoked.
Oh,
he's like a Ronnie Coleman looking, like in his prime, and he's hanging on the cross. He looks like he could just snap the beams off. Like
he's a carpenter, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's throwing over tables. These aren't folding tables.
Yep.
So
if you're gonna pick what he looks like, I know you're not technically supposed to do that, but
yeah.
Might as well make him the best.
But you might know, they might have known who he was.
They're gonna be like the guy that's taking a pre-workout before he's working on the sculpture.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, but it is interesting.
The Spirit is the vitamin S. The steroid. That's the key to muscle growth.
Yeah.
Hey, which one is he? The yoked dude?
Yeah. Which one?
The dude whose traps are like making his
tunic keeps sliding off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But what's even interesting to that is that, Jesus, his appearance, from what we do know about it, adds to his humility.
Yeah.
Adds to the riding on a colt. Like, the fact that people couldn't pick him from a crowd. And that's what the Israelites wanted in a king. When they saw Saul, he was a foot taller than everybody.
Yep.
And David was overlooked. He was a little boy.
Like his dad forgot he had him.
Yeah.
For a second.
Yeah.
He's like, "Are these all your kids?" He's like, "Yeah."
Pretty much.
Wait a minute. There is one more.
Yeah. And Jesus has that same, like, he's coming into the feast, and it's the same sort of thing. People, even the people celebrating him, are expecting something that he's not going to give them.
Yeah.
They're worshiping him. It's hard to blanket, but they're worshiping him because they're expecting something from him that isn't part of his mission. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, there's an anticipation of what he's going to do, and he is going to do something far greater than they've expected.
Yeah.
And it's why we're talking about it today.
And it's why this week is so awesome. Mm-hmm. I think and that's why even this year we decided to Easter on its own is gnarly, but we're like, let's do Passover and obviously Good Friday. We're going to do that anyway. But all the stuff to really spend time thinking about what this all means and what it means for us, what it means for you, and it's the greatest week because the world, Christmas, everyone's born. Right? So Jesus is born. That's significant. The birth of Messiah, all the anticipation, all the prophecies. But to die and rise again, this is where everything changes, And so I wanted to read this. It's from Philippians 2. It's actually one of the readings, I think, from the Anglican reading or whatever. And there's some church history element to Palm Sunday readings. Yeah. And I think the things that have been read for a really long time, and it's so accurately, describes what is going on Palm Sunday and beyond this whole week. It says in Philippians 2:5-8, adopt the same attitude as that of Christ Jesus, who existing in the form of God did not consider equality with God as something to be exploited. Instead, he emptied himself by assuming the form of a servant, taking on the likeness of humanity. And when he had come as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even to death on a cross. For this reason, God highly exalted him and gave him the name that is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. And this is exactly what we're celebrating. Yeah. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Was probably my favorite section of Scripture.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
as good as it gets.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
the point. Yeah.
I think it's what is it? I believe it's the first hymn that we know of in church history.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I believe Paul is quoting a song that they sing as a church, right? Is it indented?
No.
Yeah, I think some Bibles have it indented.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I mean it doesn't rhyme. That's how we
Yeah.
sing songs
Well, so
here.
it couldn't be a song then.
So never mind, scratch that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look into that. But I mean, it's so rich. And it's exactly what we're celebrating. It's why it's worth telling everyone about.
Yeah.
Man. This is what we're all, this is the only solution. And this is what we've all been waiting for and looking for, whether we know it or not. It's the hope of humanity. No one's too far gone. What a good time to tell people about Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great time to invite friends to church. So, and let them hear the good news.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Nope. I think that's it, man.
Cool.
I'm excited. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. So, yeah.
Awesome. See you next time.